So welcome to episode 51 of the Grindhouse podcast. I'm your host, Edwin Cabrera, aka Steady Eddie. Across the screen from me is my homie, my day one, Chris Martin, aka Critta.
What's up, guys? Before we get in today's episode, if you can, please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It helps us out a lot. We also have new merch for sale. It's grindhouse.store. That also helps us out. So let's get in today's episode.
Cool. So we got another sidebars for you. Apologies for last week. We were out. It was the holidays. It was Thanksgiving. We were on a little trip to Memphis, so we didn't do a pod. But we're back this week, and we have a few topics to talk to you guys about. Where do you want to start with, Britta?
And also, I want to specify we weren't on vacation in Memphis. It was a work trip. We're not that big of assholes where we vacation during a pandemic. But yeah, let's get into today's topics. Actually, when we were there, we watched the Tekashi doc.
We did.
Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, let's start there. So Tekashi doc. Okay, so it was exactly what I was expected because I followed Tekashi's career pretty much from beginning to where the fuck it is now. But I will say, having everything laid out in a doc was something I've been waiting to see. We're talking about Tekashi now. We've tried to stop talking about Tekashi, but we're talking about it now because I knew
circling back,
this documentary, no matter how you made it, was going to be entertaining. No matter what you covered, it was going to be entertaining because there's just like the story of this dude's life is like unlike any movie you could probably.
It is so far out there that it's like we've never seen it in hip hop, like that's sort of that kind of shit. So
the fact that he's still alive astonishes me, honestly. Like it really does. Like
it's very surprising, honestly.
Or the fact that he's somehow like, I mean, I know he spent 2 years in prison or whatever, but like for the amount of like craziness that he was like doing, the amount of crazy, like there were scenes where like he would like literally, you would tell a shooter to shoot and they would shoot. And like there was that
like Times Square and shit.
No, that was the Barclays. Yeah, it was.
I think it's the Barclays.
Yeah, it was like a crowded venue, and homie just started shooting on a court of Tekashi.
Yeah,
and like literally wreaked havoc. And I think that was one of the things eventually, like the FBI like got his screw on. But the fact that Tekashi can just pull something like that, or like when he put like money on the head of fucking Chief Keef for God knows what reason.
Yeah,
on the camera.
Another big celebrity, like that's wild to me.
Yeah, so the fact that this dude's still walking around breathing is still astonishing to me. This documentary, I think, I think this documentary, to be honest with you, did the bare. I'm talking about the Hulu one, by the way. I think there's another one coming
from Showtime. They're coming out with one. It's not out yet.
I hope that Showtime one will be better produced than this one was. I didn't really like.
Yes, this one. This felt like a very umbrella version of the story, and it's sort of like it went lightly into each part of it. Like I feel like there's got to be more to it. Like they didn't really go too deep into the court stuff. They touched on it. I feel like they just slightly touched on each part and then made a documentary about it. So
I with content like Tekashi's life, like I know it's very easy you can start anywhere and still come up with something good, in terms of like your entertaining content. But like I just feel like,
I mean, granted, it was still good. It's just I felt like I wanted to know more about it.
There's nothing that I learned that was new that I didn't already know.
Yes,
I knew. Yes, because I mean, I guess if you don't like watch like DJ Academics like I do and like some of the other like hip hop outlets, maybe you wouldn't be as in the know as I was. But like I knew about all the stuff. I knew about all of it. It was just it was literally just a rehashing of things I already knew, just lined up in chronological order and had like some of the people behind them like kind of speaking more to it. But they didn't really say anything more than I already knew.
Nothing new.
The part that I guess I was reminded of why I hated 6ix9ine, because sometimes like 6ix9ine can be like pretty charming as a personality that like you hate him, but at the same time you kind of like him in some ways. what reminded me that like, no, this, I fucking hate this guy, is like his baby mama, when she's talking about the fact that like this is somebody that's been beating on me since way before he was even famous. You know, and you realize 6ix9ine just how much of a piece of shit he actually is. There was like footage of him like doing like a full Nelson on like some girl and like throwing her around like a rag doll. Like obviously he has that like underage like sex thing that I think he got wrapped up in, and I'm not really sure whatever came of that. I don't think they ever like put all the charges back on him, but he was on probation for a long period of time because of that. You know, and then of course you have like his baby mama saying like he puts hands on me whenever he's feeling upset, he has anger issues. And so I'm just reminded, not only is he a piece of shit for putting money on Chief Keef's head for entertainment purposes. I'm not really sure if there was actually a actual beef there where you would want to put money on somebody's head. And then, you know, the whole Barclays thing where he's just telling somebody to, you know, do something ridiculous and they do it. You know, you're running around literally like just an absolute moron with money. Like the epitome like of any like think about we talk shit about like the douchey frat bros with daddy's money. Like that's how I view 6ix9ine. Only like 6ix9ine obviously came from a way tougher life, but that's what he became. He just became a douchey frat bro with money. You know, he didn't earn any of the street credit. You know, he
bought it essentially.
He bought it. He made like he just became the nastiest version of a human being. And he's pretty much like the walking Donald Trump. I'm sure that 6ix9ine is probably secretly a Donald Trump fan because like he and Donald Trump have used the same playbook to further their careers, down to like getting other people indicted and getting off scot-free. Like the playbook is exactly the same. So yeah, I don't know.
It's also that troll factor too, like using like the troll method in order to get like famous.
Yeah, exactly.
Or even to remain famous, you know. It's
Donald Trump. If he really wanted to take that election, he should have got, instead of Lil Pump, he should have got 6ix9ine to talk.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't think it would have helped him much, but
I think it would have got him more fans than Lil Pump.
Yeah, I mean, 6ix9ine is definitely more famous than Lil Pump, but
Lil Pump is grasping up the straws right now.
Lil Pimp. You mean Lil Pimp?
Yeah, Lil Pimp. So what did you think about the documentary overall, man?
Yeah, like I said, I didn't hate it. But yeah, I just wanted more from it, I guess. Like it's all like you said, it's like everything that you already read about. So yeah, if they hopefully the Showtime one it introduces some sort of maybe more information about the court stuff that wasn't revealed in articles and things like that. So
I know it's a tough interview to get, but like something with a higher production value and more connections would be able to do this. I'm curious to hear about, you got Lucian Grange's son in a fucking shootout situation with Shoddy. I want to hear from Lucian Grange. I don't know, like happen?
Yeah, like that would be interesting.
I know that would probably never happen because like you never hear of the industry figures that actually run the music industry.
Yeah,
you never hear from them.
They kind of work in the shadows.
They work in the shadows, but that for me, like when you talk about like somebody who's very well connected in like the Illuminati of the music business, and you talk about Lucian Grange's son, who like runs 10K Records, I think is his record label.
Think so, yeah.
And I forgot, what was it? Elliot Grange, I think his son's name is Elliot Grange. I could be wrong, I don't know. But like the fact that Shoddy came in demanding shit and like letting off bullets in the vicinity of one of the more powerful men in music, like the kid of one of the most powerful men in music.
Yeah,
dude, like that's the story I want to hear more about, and I want interviews with the people that were in that room for that.
Yeah,
and just seeing what's happening now with Tekashi, like he's still a part of the 10K record label with Elliot Grange. Like Elliot Grange is still like managing 6ix9ine. He's still like they're still associated with each other. And 6ix9ine made it through that somehow, got out of jail, released a record through 10K, and it flopped.
Oh yeah, what was that, 40,000 first week or some shit?
45 at most first week.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to hear, and I know it probably won't happen because these industry guys, they like to be behind the shadows. But what the hell does Lucien Grange think right now? Or at all during the time of the shooting? Like what was going through his mind? Is this
Yeah.
worth it? Is this little freaking idiot worth the headache?
Yeah.
No, doesn't seem like it. I want to know how much money Lucien Grange has made off his career right now.
Probably not much.
Or Elliot Grange rather, whoever.
But yeah, I'm definitely curious to see the Showtime version. I feel like Showtime they put out some like really dope content, and
you can always rely on
stuff.
Showtime for like a well-produced whatever, whether it be a TV show, a documentary, or whatever. That Hulu one, that was down to like, and this is me more being more of a production stickler, down to just like the camera work and like the cameras used. Like it looked like it was shot like on the Sony A7S, like it looked like it was shot with like a very like low budget, and like just like the quality wasn't just it is what it is. Like it's still a good documentary content wise, but like again, when you talk about Tekashi's story, like it's hard to miss on that level.
Do you think they like rushed it because like maybe like Showtime announced like well we're doing one, and they're like, oh fuck, well we're already working on one.
I'm not sure if that was their thought process, but I definitely feel like it was rushed.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But yeah, I mean I still advise, like, people are curious about the story and they're not too familiar on it. It's like, yeah, check it out. You'll definitely learn some stuff, and it's definitely interesting. But yeah, we'll see what happens. All right.
What else we got?
All right. Travis Scott made $100 million off of partnerships this year.
I used to think in hip hop, like whenever your name is brought up with partnering with McDonald's, General Mills, Fortnite, like a video game, Twitch, and you're making 100 mil. First of all, congratulations to Travis Scott. That is great. Oh my God, that is great. And I hope that he puts that money into other things that will generate him even more money if he invests it right. But usually when you hear of rappers like partnering with the brands that I just named, you're thinking, oh wow, that person completely sold out. That person's an absolute sellout. That used to be like I feel like once you got that perception in hip hop when you're a sellout, it's usually kind of like your time, like almost like your time is up a little bit in terms of like the level of how much people fuck with you in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Once you become corporate like that, I feel like it's like it's only a matter of time before people just kind of stop looking at you as like, I don't know, like the leader of the streets or just leader of music in general. So, congratulations to Travis Scott. I don't think that that's a perception that people look at him as right now. So he's made 100 mil off these partnerships with these large corporations, McDonald's being the largest of that collaboration, which again, McDonald's is not usually a brand that when you're saying like I partner with McDonald's that, that is going to generate what I would think is like a lot of street credibility. People immediately go to the fact that he's selling like very like bad food, very non-nutritional food, to a lot of hip hop fans, which hip hop now.
People went nuts,
but like
for it,
it's just people went nuts for it, but it's essentially like it's bad food that he's selling to his people. So if you think of it on a woke level, you're like, well, I can't get behind that. Like you're. It's like the same thing with Nas. For a while, I think Nas never endorsed like what was he like? Was it alcohol or something? Like I think he does now or something. But for the longest time, he just didn't endorse like certain brands because he didn't want to he didn't want his name or image associated with that. And that's like a higher level of doing business where like you have principles in place. I would think people generally when you hear, oh, this person Jay-Z partnered with McDonald's, typically some people are gonna like groan about that. I don't know. But with Travis, I don't think he's, for whatever reason, I feel like he's.
I don't know. I think he just has a strong fan base, a really like loyal fan base too, and like whatever he does, like his fans still love him. Like, I mean, he has like I think I read that he has a partnership with General Mills.
Yeah.
It's like he's with these like super commercial, super corporate companies
Yeah.
that
I think
normally wouldn't fuck with hip hop, but
Yeah.
for some reason they fuck with Travis Scott. People
Yeah.
still love him for it.
You know what I think it is? At the end of the day, this is usually what it is. White fans. I think Travis Scott has a lot of white fans, and he embraces white fans. He's almost like Kevin Hart in that way, where I feel like Kevin Hart has a lot of white fans, and
Yeah.
whether we know it or not, like a lot of his business moves are like, I don't know, like he's thinking of like, how do I reach the masses? And the masses, when people think of how do I reach the masses, the first thing that means is like, how do I reach white people? If you're like a black guy, then like Kevin Hart, I feel like is kind of in that boat comedian wise, especially with like how he's a little bit more PC nowadays. Travis Scott, I feel like in music and hip hop music, he's that way because just like his whole perception of like he dates one of the Kardashians, like in his videos, like I don't know.
I mean, you can even like look at her. I mean, she
Yeah.
always like has these brand deals. Like it's maybe that's where he kind of gets that grind from. Like, that's another way for me to make money.
When you date that a Kardashian, that's what you're getting because I mean, a lot of women love the Kardashians. A lot of white women love the Kardashians, and I feel like not that he needs her audience, but he just got her audience on top of having his own, which is like everybody likes Travis Scott's music, but I think a lot more people that don't listen to hip hop also listen to Travis Scott who happen to be white. Like he made that transition into mainstream like pop.
Well, I feel like and his music's kind of like it's sort of like rock music in a sense.
Yeah.
Like it has a lot of that same energy.
And his performances too. Like he has epic performances that people talk about. So I think that's why like when we talk about like sellouts and like who we perceive as sellouts, I feel like his name has kind of skated through because like maybe in our minds, like Travis Scott, we always kind of assumed he would sell out, because just think about if Nas or Jay-Z or like J. Cole or Kendrick or one of those type of artists got like a made 50 mil plus off of McDonald's, what we would say. We definitely wouldn't be saying like,
we would be calling them a sellout.
Shit. Like we'd be like, oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. But with Travis, it's like not even a thought in people's heads. But I bring it up because I think that's interesting when you like nobody. It's not like Travis ever came out and said anything about like whether or not he's for or against whatever. But it's just like because he's never officially made any sort of like bold like statement or woke whatever. And he also like has already kind of sold out in his music, not sold out in his music, but like he's already crossed over mainstream wise. So we know he's like a mainstream audience.
And also, I mean, think about the year when he performed at the
Super Bowl.
Yeah. And people were up in arms about that because it was during the Kaepernick stuff.
True, and he still did it. So maybe people kind of accepted that he like the prototype. He's a prototypical sellout, and like it's not even worth like talking about because it's not like his principles were rooted in that way anyway. But I don't know. That's I feel like I've rambled too much about it, but that's how I feel about like just his endorsement. Like interesting that
and also like he did at Fortnite and that like Twitch deal where he like performed in game. So I mean that I didn't hate. I think that's innovative and cool.
I congratulate him on all those things. All the money he's made, I congratulate him on. I just think it's interesting how like I haven't heard a peep about like people saying anything regarding being a sellout. But I think just the last little bit, I also think quote unquote getting the bag is like also kind of like a more accepted thing. Like getting the bag however you can is also like more accepted.
Like we all want to get the bag, it's like
yeah. You got the bag. You got 100 mil.
You got it. He got multiple bags. So good for him. So cool. Cool. Let's talk about. Did we talk about this yet? Young Thug doesn't know who Andre 3000 is.
No, talk about it.
So he was recently on T.I.'s podcast, and he said, I quote, "I can't rap you two Andre 3000 songs. I never paid attention to him. Never in my life," Young Thug said. How do you feel about that?
I think some ego thing is happening. I don't know what. I don't know if maybe people have been comparing him to Andre 3000 and he's kind of like getting sick of it. I don't know if maybe Andre 3000 dissed him at some point, but I think he seems like somebody. He sounds like somebody who's talking with a bruised ego.
Okay.
Because I have a hard time believing that he's from Atlanta, right around where Andre's around. I don't know if it's the same zone, but it's they're both from Atlanta, and he's never bothered to give any sort of consideration to Andre 3000, let alone it's not like Young Thug was born in the the early 2000s. He was born and lived through a significant portion of Atlanta hip hop. It's for him to say that he's never listened to Andre 3000. I don't know.
I mean, it could be that. It could be, you know how some artists, they don't like listen to other artists.
That's true. Yeah.
But I just think it's kind of weird that he doesn't like.
But we know that doesn't apply to Thug because Young Thug works with every Atlanta artist. So you have to be aware of other musicians if you're working with a lot of other musicians from that area. So I don't know if that necessarily you can say that about Young Thug. I think
Well, maybe maybe he tried to work with Andre 3000 and he doesn't fuck with them or something. Like maybe there's more to it.
That's what I'm saying. Is I think there's a bruised ego somewhere. Because it doesn't make any sense for me for him to go on like somebody's podcast and then diss or seemingly diss. Like I feel like he knew it was a diss all the way because I feel like there would have to be some cleanup after the fact, and maybe he did. I didn't listen to the whole podcast, so I don't know. But like I would assume that like you if you said something like that, you would immediately be like, oh well, I didn't like. Well, what I mean is, but like the fact that he just let that go and without any sort of cleanup afterwards, or realizing that may have come off kind of disrespectful. Like one of the goats, like one of the goats of hip hop is from where you're from, and you said that. For me, I can only point to the ego as why he said what he said because it doesn't.
I mean, kind of like to go off of like what you said. Like Young Thug is like he works with a bunch of artists, so it's like for him not to rock with Andre 3000, it definitely makes you wonder.
If we're talking about theories, like I'll go with this theory. Andre 3000 has pretty much been retired from rap overall. Like we don't hear from him a lot. He doesn't release anything anymore. He every now and then will be on a feature somewhere, and we all love when he does it because he always kills it. But it's not like he's making music crazy. He's rocking around with a fucking flute nowadays, So it's like maybe Young Thug has reached out multiple times, and Andre has never accepted whatever invite that he's gotten from Young Thug, but has every now and then popped up on a song with what was the most recent thing? I can only think of the Frank Ocean thing that he did, but he'll pop up on a random song somewhere. And Young Thug was like, dude, I've been trying to work with you for however long. Why are you on here, but you're not on my thing? I'm from Atlanta. So maybe that's what I feel like that's what happened.
Yeah, I think so
too. Around doing features all willy-nilly with everybody, and Young Thug kind of caught feelings because he never did a feature with him. That's the only reason I would think Young Thug would want to say something like this because it's disrespectful otherwise. Even if it's true, you don't say it. You know what I'm saying? Like even if it's true, you don't say it.
Yeah, no, I know. It's like you just bite your tongue and just
because it doesn't make you look good. It doesn't make Young Thug look any cooler or any more respected. Like you almost kind of like pity him a little bit that he never like.
Unless he's he's kind of playing that like cool guy thing where you kind of just like pretend you don't know something. You're like, oh, like not that familiar.
I don't think that ever looks cool.
But,
Yeah.
I think for sure. I mean,
you show that you don't have any like knowledge of hip hop, but you also like kind of like do it in an arrogant way where you're not like, if you don't know somebody, it's okay not to know somebody in hip hop. It's not like everybody knows every single artist ever. But even when you don't, you like there's a way to go about like, oh, who is that without like being, oh, I never heard of that guy.
Like what?
Or that guy. It's like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, no, for sure. You know, I feel you on that. But yeah, so hopefully, Young Thug, you know, listens to some Andre 3000. So maybe he'll check out some of his back catalog or something.
I would say they need to do a song together, but Young Thug may have ruined his own, you know, ruined his own shot there.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, so that pretty much ends our news and discussion segment of the podcast. Do we want to go into albums?
Let's do it.
All right, cool. Do you want to go local or do you want to go mainstream?
Start with local.
Okay. Let's talk about Lance Jackson. There's a war going on.
My boy Lance. That was like, yeah, so I think that came out early November 10th-ish, right around then. I've listened to it. I've really, it's one of those albums where I feel like there's just so much on it that you have to like listen to it multiple times, because at first, usually there's a process when I listen to an album, especially when it's one that's like very, just like there's a lot more layers than just like you know, thoughtlessly listen to music and like whatever, if you like it, you don't like I feel like with Lance Jackson, he makes music that you really like, you sit with, you know.
He's telling you a story. It's like the content it's like heavy content, and yeah, I fuck with this record. I think it's dope. He's also got some good features there. Latrell James is on there.
Shout out to Latrell James.
Big fan. Benji Ally. Could be.
You don't know it. Don't
looking that up. Some Teddy Meanface is on there as well. Super dope, and the record itself is very melodic. I definitely get some like sort of on the production side of it, some sort of like Mac Miller vibes to it. Really fucking dope.
Yeah, I feel like this is one of those records that I wish we could play on the podcast. I don't really like, you've always talked me out of playing records on the podcast, so I won't play anything. But I really, really liked just about every song on this album. I think it's it's throughout the whole album. There's a very like, you know, there's a theme or a feeling, like a constant vibe to the album that I think he really captures well. My favorite song, oh man, I don't know. I think We're Still Sipping Teenies is probably my favorite song, because one, I love that title.
Yeah.
And two, just like, you know, I guess like just the vibe that it puts me in when I'm listening to it. I think this album is amazing, where either you're cruising in a car or you're on a walk and you're kind of just like taking in the music. You can actually take in the music, because it's one of those albums where you want to listen, you know. So whatever it is that you're doing, you don't want to be doing too much because you might miss something. And for me, We're Still Sipping Teenies, like that just brought me back. My uncle used to work, you know, for the teeny company, and he used to.
Dude, when I saw the word teenies, I was like, "Yo, nice!" Like, go to the corner store and get them shits.
I used to flip teenies, bro. Like, I used to literally. That used to be me and my.
That was your hustle.
Yo, my uncle would bring like boxes upon boxes of teenies. The store, I think, used to sell them for like 25 cents. I had them in my fridge. People used to knock on my door in Current Circle. I used to sell them for 10 cents. I used to flip them motherfuckers. So it brought me, that title instantly brought me back to the time I was flipping teenies with 10 cents. So I think that's like, there's a sentimental value for me in that song, that is my favorite song on the album. But overall, the entire album is super dope, super soulful. You know, he's a very soulful dude. He reminds me of like, just like I don't want to pigeonhole just like conscious rappers and just name a bunch of conscious rappers, because it's like, it's soulful too. Like there's a good amount of like soul and like good lyrical hip hop and storytelling that just like it makes you just appreciate the overall record. And I think the sound also is a very soulful, melodic type of feel. What was your favorite song on the album?
I liked two of them. I like the Teeny song as well, but Grown Ups and that song War. Yeah, they're those songs are great. I feel like he talks a lot about like trauma and family and just like heavy content, you know. Like I always appreciate artists that are willing to open up on their songs and let people in. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one of the bigger secrets to like making a timeless record, something that you can play 5, 10 years from now and have and still have it made have meaning. Because
Yeah.
if you just if your music is solely based on sound and whatever sound is hot in the current era, it always stays in that era, I feel like. Unless like
Yeah.
I mean, actually, our next review is actually going to be a direct contradiction to what I just said because it actually has stayed. But overall, I feel like if you're just making music for sound, it can get caught in like an era. And then like when you listen to it back 5, 10 years from now, like for example, the mixtape era that was hot like 10 years ago, whatever, where it was just like, there was like a lot of shit coming through like Dat Piff, like a lot of those things, like those records were mixed terribly, and I listen to them now. I can't even listen to them anymore because like the production is just so off.
Yeah.
It's just some people like that, but for me now, I'm so used to sound now where everything's so polished and like it just on point and mixed well and mastered well.
Yeah.
Like
we're spoiled.
It makes me like not appreciate that music anymore from that era. But I do think the secret to making timeless music is to give it another layer of authenticity. And I feel like when you're vulnerable and you open up and you give us that aspect of yourself in your music, you're making timeless music. And I feel like this record, I would say, is definitely something that like we'll listen back 5, 10 years from now, wherever Lance Jackson is, and we'll be like, yeah, man, he really did it on.
Well, I think being authentic in your music goes a long way.
Yeah.
So I think you can never go wrong just being your true self in a song. So
yeah, for sure.
So yeah, if you haven't, check out that record. It's by Lance Jackson. There's a war going on. Really dope. It's streaming everywhere, so check that out.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Lance Jackson.
All right, let's go to Juicy J. The hustle continues.
Juicy J. So yeah, like I said earlier, where I caught myself, like some records, they actually get bigger as time goes on, or some music. And I feel like Juicy J's, for example, his type of music, that is what's popping right now. Because Juicy J's always been like this recent record, with The Hustle Continues, I think it's called. It's not like it's like any new Juicy J. It's not like the sound from that album is anything that we've never heard Juicy J before. It's just a continuation of that good shit that Juicy J brings whenever he puts out music.
It's
that
like the head bobbing like type of music. It like I feel like that whole album's dope.
I'm not. I one thing I've learned about myself is I don't get tired of Juicy J's music.
Yeah,
I think he's been releasing records like that since I can remember, like since like 2004 when I was really like on that 3-6 Mafia, and that was like one of my favorite groups. But like, it's this album is track up the track after that high energy Juicy J, like heavy bass, crazy beat with the trap, I don't know, trap type raps where he's just like rapping about like just that crazy shit that Juicy J spits on a record. He's always talking about fucking rubbing some pussy and some crazy like slobbing on. He always has those lines where it's just like mad, like just visually like it's fucking gross. But it sounds fucking amazing at the same time. What else did he say? There's a couple lines in that album that I really love, like I don't eat McDonald's but I smoke a quarter pound.
It's so good. It's so good. Yeah, man, I just feel like, and dude, his hooks too are just fantastic. And dude, he had a lot of like great features on this record too. He had ASAP Rocky, Conway.
What do you think about those Logic records?
They were good. Yeah, obviously the Juicy J like portion of it is good.
Well, okay. I feel like you're just attacking Logic because it's just a popular thing. Are you one of those people?
No, it's just not my cup of tea. That's all.
I always hate on people who hate people because it's the popular thing to do to hate people. And if you're being that person right now, I hate you.
No, I like Logic as someone that can rap.
Because I've been saying I hate Logic.
We know. We know you have.
I used to fuck with Logic a lot, then I kind of just got tired of him. But I still think he makes good music.
But I mean, he made it on the record, two of the songs. So, clearly Juicy J fucks with them.
I don't think he made those records that he's on. I forgot what the records are called. But I don't think he made those records special in any way. I don't even think that like the type of records those were that I like. I think one of them was called Shoddy, and like I feel like. Yeah, it's cool to get Logic on a record because, like, I mean, if you're thinking about like Logic's fan base and trying to branch out and stay relevant, obviously Juicy J he's been in the game for a while, and a part of being in the game for a while is knowing how to stay relevant. And I obviously think like doing a song with Logic is gonna help you stay.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't think Logic, as good as those tracks were with Logic, I don't think he added anything special to those records. So actually. The songs were good. I don't think his portions, like you said, and I was just being an asshole earlier. I agree with you. I don't think that his portions were like anything to write home about. I actually think I don't know if it was Shoddy or if it was the other song he was on. I actually think he did a terrible job. I didn't really like his part in the song. And I'm not like I said, it's either Shoddy or the other one, but like it was especially for Logic who like has this like very technical ability to rap like however he wants to rap. I think his rapping in one of the songs. I gotta pull it up. Do you have the track list? Let me hold on.
Let me look at it. I'm just gonna go on Spotify here.
I got it. So yeah, he's on Shouty Bad in 1995. I think it's 1995. I think sounded like Logic. I think it's Shouty Bad is the track that I didn't really like him in. 95 I think was okay. I think it was Shouty Bad that he just like his flow was just. I was like, okay, you're not really doing anything special. You shouldn't even be on the song, to be honest with you. You should be somebody else that, like, would actually be a better for a song like Shawty Bad. Logic is like he's married. He's got one wife. Like,
yeah.
She looks like one of these white women that have no ass. Like, I don't think Shawty Bad is the type of song,
All right. So, what songs? Like, what do you like for songs? What are your favorite songs?
My favorite song on the so I think the album started off really strong, and so I think most of my favorite songs on the album is the songs that started the album. So Goddamn High I really liked a lot. Spend It I really like. I think 2 Chainz was probably my favorite feature on the whole album. And
that was a good song.
And after that, I think every other song I really liked. I liked how he like bigged up all the rap artists that passed away in the past like few years in Kobe. Like I like how he shouted them out and Poe Up. And I think that like the first 5 songs, obviously the song with Conway is crazy, and Conway was another one. I think 2 Chainz and Conway were my 2 favorite features on the album. But those first 5 I think were a great beginning to an album. And I would say my favorite is probably Goddamn High, just off of like the bounce and that's the one that makes me want to really move.
I would say Poe Up and Killa are my 2 favorite songs. I really like the record, so it's definitely something that I'm gonna be listening to and revisiting.
Yeah, for sure.
It definitely doesn't have that one play value.
I keep saying it, and actually, like people keep hating on me for it. Sorry, I just cut you off there.
That's all good.
I keep saying it. I think like I'm realizing that like, especially with this Busta Rhymes album, like people just have different tastes because like I think the album's a classic, and people have been telling me different. I put this album right next to like Busta Rhymes album in terms of like releases, like just like what the best thing that rapper like brings, they brought it at their best. I think with Busta and Station Level Event 2, he brought the best of Busta on that album. Everything that we love about Busta is on display on that album to the best of its ability. I don't think there's one bad song on the album. I think the album just has all of the best of Busta. So even the parts of Busta you may not be a fan of, like he has that, but it's the best version of it. I think this album for Juicy J is the same way, where it's not like Juicy J's bringing us anything new that we haven't heard before.
No, it definitely sounds like a Juicy J record.
Yeah, it's in his element, but it's the best of Juicy J. Like he's giving you, it's not like he's like, he's because he's been doing this for a while. It just sounds the same. It still has that hit to it. It still hits.
Yeah.
And so I'll give that to Juicy J, man. This is a very, very good album. Very fun to listen to. Him and Busta, congrats to both of them, still being, vets in the game, but still, both of them arguably,
can still deliver
album of the year type content, in 2020 is awesome to see.
Yeah. They can keep up. I love it. So that's all the albums we've got. I think that concludes the episode.
Good episode. I feel like we had a good sidebars this one. We had some good conversations, good things to talk about. Do you guys really fuck with us? I think that you guys do, but I'm not sure anymore. Just make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, Edwin's insecure. You
always have to massage my ego. You know? It's the nature of the beast. But like, if you guys really do love us, like, comment, and subscribe. Keep those algorithms looking good. We're obviously trying to build our platform. We've been doing this now for over a year. We're over 50 episodes. We're really proud of. We want to make it to well over 100 episodes. If we could do it past 200 episodes, we'll do it till 200. But we really want, to make sure that people are actually fucking with us. So if you do, let us know by sharing us, commenting, subscribing, just showing us love, man, because we absolutely need it. Still growing our fan base, and we know that there's an absolute like huge community of hip hop heads in the Lynn Boston area that I think would fuck with us. So if you do, just make sure you remind us by supporting us
and show your friends.